What up, y'all? We're live. The biracials is back in the motherfucking building. Yes, honey. Shout out to Mini Trees. Hey, honey, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Shout out to the replay gang. And I got my guest with me, Tragic J. So, yes, we back in the building. How y'all doing today? Don't be in the look. Y'all see that banner? Make sure you engage in the comments. Don't be just sitting there cloud watching all day because, it's going to be a little juicy. We're talking about dating as a biracial person. And, girl, I've been out here living my best life. It's been fun. I've been dating. And I date, exclusively biracial men, right? So I was going to do this topic, the pros and cons of dating biracial men. But I felt like that would have been a little bit too... So we're just going to talk about dating as a biracial person, right? So I wanted to have Tragic J on here to have, a male perspective. I'm a woman. I date men, obviously, and then he dates women, obviously. So we're going to have, a balanced perspective on this. And, yeah, what you got to say? What you want to talk about? What you want to get into first?
You want me to start it off?
Go ahead and start it off. You can take the lead. You're the man. You got to take the lead.
All right. Yep, bet. Okay. So I ain't gonna lie, this is a very hard topic because it's very complex. Because people are different all throughout the world. You're gonna have a different experience. Who do you date, regardless if you're biracial or not? So this is a hard topic. But so I ain't even gonna. I'm gonna talk about, I guess, my experience dating, and then talk about what I observed with other biracial people. Is that cool? That makes sense,
Yeah, go
right?
ahead. I'm ready to hear it. Eager to hear it. Go ahead.
All right. Wait, no, wait. Give me a second. Give me a second. All right. Damn, I don't even know where to start with this. What was I gonna say? Now you start.
Okay, so I really been wanting to speak on this for a minute, right? So I was married to a biracial man for 10 years. We have 3 kids together, and we got divorced. And I've been dating, and the last 3 guys I did were biracial men, and I've noticed a theme, a pattern with biracial men. And I wrote down a list. We could just talk about my little list I got going on. Okay, hold on a second. I got it on my notes. Hold on a second. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I hear
Can
you.
you still hear me? Okay,
I can.
perfect. Okay, I got these notes. I said the pros and cons of dating a biracial man. Right, let's get into it. Okay, the pros are that they're very attractive. They got good morals, good character, good in bed. They stand on principles. I don't know what it is. I feel like
Hold
biracial
on, you're
people are
talking too fast. You're going too fast. Slow.
going too fast.
Slow.
Okay,
Slow. Yeah.
okay. First of all, they're very attractive. We know that. We know that. Biracial people are very beautiful people. So that's definitely a plus.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Very, very attractive. The men are very,
Appreciate that.
very
Appreciate
attractive to
that.
them. And they got
Y'all very
good
attractive
morals.
too. Y'all got that too. Y'all got that going.
Period. Right. Okay. So they got good. I feel like biracial people are instilled from birth to have good morals. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but it seemed like they have a very like a moral sense of justice and what's right and what's wrong and always try to do the right thing. And you know what I mean? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I feel it is. It's a curse too. It's good and it's a curse because we're always trying to. That turns us into people pleasers, but
People pleasers.
yeah,
Yeah. We're
yeah,
always trying to stand up for what's right and always trying to do the right thing. And that's so instilled in us for some reason. You know what I mean? And I've noticed that Irish men, they have a really a moral sense of they have good morals. They're not gonna mess you over. I just think they got good morals in general. They got good character. They're pretty good character. They're good in bed. I think they're good in bed. Principles, they stand
Oh,
on
I know.
principles. I don't think they cheat too much. I haven't experienced cheating. That hasn't been something I worried about. They're loyal. You know what I mean? Once they like somebody, they stick with them. But they stand by them.
And yeah, can I say something on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and say something on that.
Because I believe we're loyal too. Because it's like a contradiction when people talk about us. They say we're players because we look good and women want us, so that makes us automatically players. Just because people want us, you're a player. But you look good, people want you. Does that make you a player?
No, I'm loyal too. I'm super
Right.
loyal because that's
So
the moral sense stuff. It's we know cheating is wrong, so why would we cheat? You know what I mean? We know
right.
that for a fact. When we
But it's
locked
a
in
it's
with
a
somebody, we locked in. You know what I mean?
right. It's a contradiction because they'll say we're players and then they'll turn around and say we're feminine and we're soft and women like masculinity. So if we all this soft and feminine, that means that women don't like us. So it's like you're telling us we're players and women don't. I don't
Yeah, I
understand
get what
it.
you're saying. It's like how you got all these women. Oh, he must have all the women, but at the same time, it's like, well, he's feminine, so he's not gonna get like what? That's a contradiction right there. Like,
Yeah,
which
that's
one
a
is it, right?
contradiction.
Like, which one is it, right?
Right, right,
That's
right.
true. That's true, right? And okay, yeah, they don't cheat. They're very family oriented, right? Like they're very like most like biracial men. Most of them are very like involved in their children's lives. Like they're because I think that goes into like one of my cons. I'm gonna get into that in a minute, but you know, a lot of biracial men they don't grow up with fathers, so they want to be like the dad they never had. It's like their kids. You know what I mean? Like that's like they're not just out here creating a bunch of kids and abandoning them. Like they want to be involved in their kids' lives, and that's something I see. Like I notice with biracial men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with all your pros so far.
Okay, we're getting into the cons. Okay. So a
But
lot of them are like they don't have great jobs. That was another one. Like a lot of them is like kind of what was it underemployed? Like they're not like in good positions and like the job thing.
yeah, I agree
You
with
know
that.
what I mean?
Like for the not I ain't talking about the little 1% of us, but the majority of us,
The majority of us
we
are
do,
like, you know,
we
not
do we have the same socio economic status as black men because that's who we come from. So we're not born in a position to even we're start. It's like cards. We dealt a very bad hand in life
yeah,
from the
it's not like you
beginning.
guys yeah. Okay. Anger issues, that's definitely a common thing. Cause you know what one guy said? I dated this one guy. He was like, yeah, light skinned men, they do have anger issues because everybody hates us. That's what he said. I was like, damn, that's sad.
No, I see that
Mm.
too. I ain't gonna lie. You ain't lying. Like I be talking. I just have a conversation with a biracial dude that I don't even know. Like I just start talking to him and he be mad, like offended by some shit I say, and I just see. I
Yeah,
don't even
anger
get it.
issues.
I've always understood it. Why are a lot of us so angry? Like I don't even. I got brothers that are about it. They be angry as fuck too.
Angry,
I
like
don't.
there's a
And I
lot of
don't even.
anger
I
because
still
you know
haven't
a lot
figured
of
that
them
one
deal
out.
with like a lot of violence, like you know, like people beating them up because it's like 1v20. You know what I mean? It's like you versus the world. You know what I mean? You have to have like these anger issues.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, go ahead. What's our other cons? Con men. I can't hear you. Is it me or you? Yo.
That's kind of sad. They just do some more soul searching, like figure out who you are, stand on who you are, love who you are, self love, self love.
Hey, you went out for a second.
Oh, okay. I'm outside. Okay, so I said that you know it's all about like soul searching and finding who you are and loving. It's about self love. Like I want to see more like biracial
The
men.
last thing I heard you say was it was about anger, like us
Oh,
being
okay.
angry. So I don't know what you said after that.
Oh, hold on. Let me go back to my house. So I said a lot of biracial men don't have a sense of self. That's something I talked about. You know, and that goes back to like being proud of who you are, like accepting like I'm a biracial man. This is who I am. Loving who you are, having self love. Like if you can't really love yourself unless you know yourself. Like go on
I,
that self
I,
love journey.
I got to comment on that too. When you go ahead, I'm gonna comment on that before you go to the next.
Okay, go ahead and comment on that because I that
Oh,
okay. So it's like not having a sense of self or pride in who you are. You know what I mean?
oh.
That's kind of a thing.
So, um, obviously, culturally, the way you raise, you're gonna be raised either black or white, right? So, biracial people cannot have a sense of self because the homes we're born into, the society, everything, you're gonna be raised psychologically. You're gonna have like think the mindset of where black people are coming from, or you go up around white people, you're gonna have what your dialogue, everything. You're gonna sound more like them. So I feel like I was talking about I was talking. Damn, fumbling over my words, but I was talking to you about earlier about the psychological difference, like biracial men with a white psychological perspective, and then a black.
like the mindset difference. Like you either have like a mind, your mindset is influenced by your environment. So if you're around like an
Yeah,
all white environment, you're gonna have like a more white mindset. If you're all black environment, there's no such thing as like a biracial mindset. Like
right.
people
So
who
if
are
you
like balanced and who they are and just grounded and just like, this is who I am, I accept who I am. And you know, if you love and accept who you can, you defend who you am too. So a lot of people, a lot of biracial people, they just kind of take it on the chin, like the whole light skin jokes and this, take it on the chin because they don't want to be viewed as like sensitive. But it's like, no, if you love who you are, you stand up for who you are. And it's like, no, I ain't gonna take that shit. You know what I mean? It's happening more and more. You know what I mean? Because we see this whole Drake situation. Like they not like us. You know, that gotta wake people up because it's like, man, these people are saying like just are completely disrespecting, you know, biracial people. If you love who you are, you ain't gonna just let that shit slide. It's like, nah, I don't want to be around people who are gonna be disrespecting biracial people. Like, no, I don't put myself around it. If I feel like anybody around me feels some type of way about being biracial, I ain't gonna put up with it. It's like, nah, because I love myself too much. You know what I mean? I'm just like, nah, who I am. That's who I am, and ain't gonna let that. Just like if you ain't gonna let no racist person around you. Like, nah, that's not cool.
right, right. I mean, I already felt like that we're not like them, so them saying that don't really offend me. But I feel like they could have said it in a better way. They didn't have to be so rude about it. But
Right, right. Okay, let me
um,
go.
but
Are you?
what let me say, I was gonna say like
Oh, go
if you're
ahead.
dating a biracial dude that is psychologically white, it's you're basically dating a white dude. You're not really dating a
Right.
biracial dude.
That's
The same
fact.
thing like if you're dating a biracial that's he carries himself like he's black, like he's psychologically black. You're not
Yep.
really dating a biracial dude. You're not. You're still getting that same result because they got the same site. So
That's true. And it's like I said, it's like I noticed this. It's like when Irish women, when they're psychologically black, they go like extra hard, like extra. I'll speak on that too. I'll speak on my experience, but they'll try to go extra hard. Be try to be like every bad stereotype just to try to like fit in. And then
right, and
it's the
that's
same. It's the extreme on the other side when you're like psychologically white. You try to be extra to try to fit in with the motherfucker. You know what I mean? So it's like,
and that's
yeah,
how they lose the sense of self because you're taking on a character of what you perceive, the culture to be, what you think of what a black man is. You're taking on stereotypes instead of being yourself. Like it's like, oh, I
right.
gotta eat chicken now because that's gonna make me black. You gotta do certain things. You gotta say, nigga. You gotta. I don't know if I can say it on here, but you gotta
They
say,
could be. They try to be. Someone will try to be gangster. Try to be like, oh, I'm
yeah.
gonna
You
be
to basically taking on like an archetype. You're not being yourself. So it's like you lose a sense of self because you're trying to be the stereotype to
exactly,
make up for
exactly.
the lack of melanin or whatever the case is. But yeah, you lose a sense of self.
I agree with that. And
So
then that, and when you're in a relationship, you don't have the sense. It's like, okay, if you don't got like biracial pride in who you are, you can't have that biracial love. Like you're not gonna value your partner. Like if you're a biracial person with another biracial person, you're not gonna value them. You know what I mean? Because you don't
no,
value yourself. You don't
you're not
value
gonna
yourself. So how are you
right.
gonna value another biracial person? Like you're not, because you don't even value yourself.
If
You
the
know,
identity don't matter to you, the identity of the family you're building
of
is not gonna
of your
matter.
partner, or like, yeah, it's not gonna matter to you.
Because in your eyes, y'all both, she a light skinned black girl and you're a light skinned black man. So it's like you're not really thinking about, oh, I'm really doing something to contribute to a community that's mine. I'm
No,
building. You're not your mindset's not like that. So if you don't have that
yeah,
biracial sense of self, you're not gonna be on the same page
exactly.
as someone that would.
And then, but like if you're just a light skinned couple, it's like kind of like weird. Like a lot of people view it as like, why are these two light skinned people? Because that's not the norm. It's usually like you're a light skinned person with dark. That's like it's outside of the norm. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
Right.
weird.
It creates
Some
a
people don't.
discomfort.
Yeah, it creates discomfort with people because it's like, I don't really see this. Yeah. But yeah, you want anything more to say about that one before I move on to the next one?
No, you go. We can go on to the next.
Okay, the next one is usually don't come from a good family. Okay, so the guy I married, look, he was in foster care. Like a lot of biracial people end up in foster care, right? We know that adoption, the foster system, or like um they don't know their dad, they don't know who their dad is, or their mother was this. Like a lot of, they don't come from good, we don't come from good families most of the time, and that affects your dating life. If you got all this trauma from your childhood growing up and you're trying to date people, like it's harder because you never had that healthy example of like how many biracial people can say their mom and dad had a healthy relationship? Like not a lot. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So that's a difficulty because it's like, man, it's
And they
very
and the
hard.
ones that do, they end up with white women. I ain't
White
gonna
people,
lie. They end up
right?
with white women. The biracial that
The
had a
right
good background
women,
family,
yeah.
they don't end up with biracial women or black women.
Nope,
They end up
we
with
sure
white folks.
don't. Yeah, so it's like a lot of us come from really hard backgrounds, you know, poverty, struggle, single motherhood. And you know, my parents were divorced. My parents were married for a minute, but they got divorced when I was like 10. So my dad, he left the picture when they're most interracial couples end up getting, the ones that do get married, they end up divorced. So like, what was that stat? 92% of like biracial kids are fatherless, come from single parent homes or some shit like that. Like, so a lot of us have a lot of trauma from our upbringing and our parents and our families, you know what I mean? And that translates into relationships, you know what I mean? Because when you are dating people, like I said, all them childhood traumas, if you're not healing that, you're working on that, like you're gonna have a toxic relationship with your partner. You know, you really are. It takes a lot of active work to have a healthy relationship, a lot of healing, a lot of and a lot of people don't want to do that work. You know what I mean? So it's like it's rough because
Dang,
I've
you
done a lot of work on that. You know, to have
you
a
just
healthy
made
life.
me realize something. There's a trend. You know, there's a lot of biracial women talking about how bad their white moms were with,
Yep, that's what I'm
being
saying.
black, right? But I don't see a lot of biracial men talk like saying the same thing about their white moms. Why is that?
But I see, you know what I noticed the common pattern is like biracial men with black fathers is like 99% of the time they weren't there in the household at all. Like
No, I
they
mean
just
like
weren't there.
they're not out on TikTok right now. Like the biracial men are not on TikTok right now bashing their white moms. Like, oh, my white mom was raped. They're not really doing that. I only see the women doing that.
I see that a little bit. I do see like a lot of some biracial men. They're like, "Oh, my white mom, she did this, she did this." I see it. I see
Really?
that.
Send
I
me the
think I do.
videos because I haven't seen it
I've
yet.
seen it.
I
I've
wanna.
definitely seen it too. It's been a trendy thing to sit there and bash like
I
they
don't
white
really see the.
mama.
I keep saying
You
even
know,
when like they're showing examples
but
like
I've seen trauma. Remember that girl? Like she was saying how much she hates her dad. She had a white dad, and she just hates her dad so much. And
yeah.
it's just that's just a trendy thing. Like how are these people? How are we gonna have healthy relationships if we all hate our freaking parents? Like I don't know. Like we gotta heal that. Like that's something that just doesn't just need to be a trend on TikTok to just bash your fucking parent because they're trash. But it also needs to be a trend to how are you healing that freaking, and it's a unique dynamic. That's why I remember I did an interview with like a, go check out that video. I did a interview with a therapist, a biracial therapist. She was saying how, you know, we need more representation in, because those are unique dynamics that we grow up with that we definitely need I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for the last 6 months. He's a white guy. He's really good though. I like him. I don't really talk about like racial things or nothing. I just talk about like my personal life. But I definitely do encourage. We do need more biracial therapists working on those types of issues of our dynamics growing up, and so we could grow and have healthy relationships. Hey, future. I don't understand the white mom versus I don't understand the white mom versus black war debate. We were just talking about that, man. It's
I
just
mean, I'm
another
not in that.
division
I'm not in
tactic.
that. If anybody goes into that, then you're hopping on a trend that was
Yeah, it's just a
literally
division
2 years
tactic.
ago.
Like it's ridiculous. Look,
Yeah.
me, I got a black mom and white dad, and you got a white mom, black dad. We get along just
Right.
fine. Like we're chilling. Like there's no division.
If
Like
you fall into that, you're doing that on purpose. You're
yeah, you're
literally
doing it. It's silly. I think it's very
that's
silly.
intentional because there's
I
no
think it's
way.
silly. I think there is like I don't. It's because people try to turn it into like who's better than them, but it's like if we want to discuss there is differences. I think there is a little bit of a difference, but that doesn't make oh I'm better than you or something. You know what I mean? It's always I think that's weird, but you
That's
know.
another that's another contradiction too, because you're sitting here telling us that we're all black, and then you'll point out, and then you'll say there's a difference between white moms and black mom biracials,
Because
but we're all
the
black and there's no
debate
difference.
is the debate. You know, what's funny. The debate is it's like not to get off topic, but the debate is it's like well biracials with black moms they're more grounded in the culture because it's the mothers who pass down the culture to the biracial kids because a white mom they can't pass on black culture
So
to a
then how do
white
you get
kid.
coons? How do you get black
But
men acting like white men? How
but
do
the
you
thing
get
is, you know what the thing is? It's your environment at the end of the day, right? Because it's like, okay, I have a white mom. I mean, if I had a black mom, but if I was raised in a white environment, like I'm gonna be more culturally white at the end of the fucking day. If you're a white, if you are raised in a black culture, black environment, you're gonna be more. It's all about your environment. You know what I mean? That's all it is to me, in my opinion. It's more about your environment, what you were raised in, versus like who your mama was. And there's a lot of biracials with white mamas who were raised in the hood around all black people. So it's like I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
But
there's some
then,
ghetto ass white girls out here, so I don't feel.
not for real, not for real. They often look at the white men as more powerful and biracials with white dads. Oh yeah, that's definitely true. It's like a class thing because like the whole debate of when black women get with white men, they're like super beautiful and gorgeous, and the white man has money and he's spent versus when a black man gets with a white
So,
woman, it's like,
so
oh, they're like lower class
it
and
isn't
whatever.
isn't isn't that a
You know,
contradiction because they're sitting here saying that black moms raise biracials better, but then they'll turn around and say that the black women that are dating these white men are not even culture themselves. They're saying that they're whitewashed. So
right? That's true. That's true. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Very,
how are
very true.
whitewashed black women dating white men? You know what they call them, bad winter? What they call them when they date
The
out?
bed wench.
Yeah,
Yep,
they're
that's what they
saying
call
that they
them.
don't even
We
like
ain't on
black people.
TikTok. We can say whatever we want. YouTube don't be caring, really. We can say whatever. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go to
I
my
just
next
think
one.
that's made up. I don't think there
It's
is a
made up.
better. I think that
It's
all biracial people experience the same shit. That's how
Yeah.
I feel.
I think there is like slight differences a little bit, but it's not like, oh, I'm better than you. Like there is like some slight, but not really.
Right,
Like we still get
right, because
along.
it's still the same races where they like. It's
It's
still the
still the
same
same
races, but
genetic makeup. To me, it's
it's
still
still
like
black people and white
the
people.
same genetic makeup.
What are we doing here? It's still black people and white people.
Right, exactly. So my next one was there's no like a lot of I noticed this theme with biracial men. There's like not there's no family support. So like me and my ex-husband, right? um his family does not like okay, my family is very supportive of my kids and everything, right? But his family, they don't have nothing to do with the kids. As like he has nobody on his side of the family. I know he moved away, but even when we were together, is like his family had nothing to do with the kids. Like they were just like completely checked out. Like it was like you know what I mean? Like I just felt like that's the thing. But with the guys I've dated, it's like, oh, I don't talk to my mom, I don't talk to my parents, I don't talk to them, I don't even they no contact with their parents. And one guy was like, I hate my parents, like I don't even talk to that side of the I don't I'm just by myself, I have no family support whatsoever. Like a lot of the guys I've dated that are no family support whatsoever. They're not like they are on their own, like there's no nothing, like they just don't like mess with their family like there's like at all because like I said, they come from a bad upbringing. So when you grow up, it's like, well, you don't have no family support whatsoever, you know what I mean? Like all that's gone, and that plays a big role, especially if the kids with somebody. And it's like, well, that's they don't have no grandmas or grandpas or nobody on that side of the family supporting you guys or nothing, you know what I mean? It's like it makes me sad because I'm like, dang, it's like they don't have no grandmas or grandpas or nothing on that side of the family whatsoever that they even talk to, or they don't even call them. They don't care really. So that don't makes me sad. You know what I mean? It really does. It's like just how the family kind of disregards us. You know what I mean? It's like when we're that's how it is within our own family. It's like, okay, when we're used, when we're useful, they can use us. They'll use us, but then when you're not, they'll disregard. Like I see that a lot within like biracial people, especially like the biracial men that I date. You know what I mean? So it's like used and disregarded. Like that's a part of the biracial experience for a lot of people, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sadly. Sadly, let me see. Okay, let me keep going with this. Like I said, either tries too hard to be black or white. We've already said that. Here's another one. Okay. Do you read some of them? A lot of them I noticed are stingy with money. Like, why y'all? But that kind of goes back to like when you don't have a good job, like you don't really got it like that. You're gonna be kind of stingy with your money. Like you're not trying to like spoil or that. That's something I've noticed with my, because I've dated a guy who was very successful. Like I'm gonna get into like my personal experience. He was successful, he had money, but he was like, I feel like he didn't really value me. He didn't want to spend no money on me, and I was like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I'm like, you got it like that, but you don't want to spend the money. Like,
I
I
mean,
thought that
Drake
was
out here spending money on these women, so you
yeah,
got
but
it. You got. No, I'm just saying.
I mean that's Drake. He got million. He's a millionaire. We're talking about like
No,
regular,
I'm just.
regular,
I know. I'm just. You talking about just regular.
regular, regular. We some regular, regular civilians
I
in this
mean,
bitch.
that's. I can't speak on that because I don't even. I don't know. I just. That's a
But you
whole.
you gotta yeah, okay.
I feel like that's an American thing. I don't feel like that's a. Because I feel like there's white dudes that don't spend money on women. There's black dudes that don't. I feel like that's a.
Okay. This next one
Wait, no, no.
too.
What do you think? What do you think? Do you think white men and black men spend
Cheap
money on
men are a
women?
bad deal.
Do,
Facts.
do,
Okay.
do you think white men and black men spending money on their women?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They spend money. They spend
Mm,
money. The women, I feel this is what I think though. You know how like okay, white men they see women as like that's their property, kind of like like the same. They don't. That's why like white men, like but they both do that. Like all races of men view the women as like, oh, this is my property. Like this is mine. Like don't date outside your race. Don't do like you guys are ours. So I feel like they value them because you need a freaking other like if you're white and you need a white woman to create a white child. Like, you know what I mean? And then it's the
right.
same.
Right.
You need a white,
I
but
feel
like
like the spending money on dating. I feel like that's a universal topic
that is,
because
but
I feel
that's
like
like,
there's
but
I
to
be seeing a
me,
lot
it
of
translates that
debates.
you value this woman. Like, okay, if you see, like a lot of white guys, they value white women, so they're
Yeah,
willing
yeah,
to.
I agree with that. If I
But
like
I
I
think
like a
biracial men, they don't really, like I said, it goes back to you don't really value yourself. So you're not going to value biracial women. Why would you want to go spend money and do all this for a biracial woman? We don't fucking value them. It's not,
no,
you know
I
what I
agree
mean?
that if you really like a girl, you're gonna want to take her out.
You're gonna want to take her
You're
out and
gonna
want to do all these things.
yeah,
But
you're gonna
I've
want to do
noticed,
things for. I agree with
yeah,
that because
it's either like they don't got it.
that's the
Like I
love
hear that a lot. I
languages.
was like, oh, if I could, I would. But it's like, but the men that I have that can, it's like, oh well, then I don't feel valued as a biracial woman by biracial men. Like
So that's
the
more
ones
of
that I've been dating.
that's
You know
more
what I
of
mean?
a like if you ain't got no money, like you said, if you ain't got no money, you're not gonna extra money. If you ain't balling, like if you ain't got extra money, like if you just paid your rent, your car insurance, all that stuff, and you trying to spoil, it's not gonna work if you don't got the money to do it. But
If you ain't got no money, but
also,
if you got the money, like I think, I don't know. I just
yeah,
really what I ideally want. I do want that whole like I do like kind of like the traditional roles a little bit. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, oh, I'm like the submissive. I like that. I do like being submissive. I like it. I like being submissive. I want to be like the pretty submissive girl, and I freaking cook, clean, do everything. I like doing all that.
and
And then
some
have like
dudes,
a
some
traditional
dudes,
man that's like a provider and protector, like financially providing. And but you know what you said though, because we were talking about, you said that like providing is like something that like kind of like white people came up with a little bit, the financially. I don't know. Remember, like, because they
yeah, yeah,
banned their women from working. Like, who else did
yeah.
that?
The
Who
women
else
have
did that
to.
but white people? But you know what I mean?
Yeah, didn't women had to fight for their rights. They didn't have rights, so that means
They
that
didn't have rights, right?
men wanted them in the house. They didn't want them. They wanted to provide for them. They didn't want them to have rights. They wanted them to stay in the house, and the men provide. And back then the whole situation was different. But back
Mm-hmm.
to like dating, like if you're dating somebody for the first time, like a biracial dude, and he don't like you said, he don't want to pay for anything, he don't want to do no money. I feel like it could also be like maybe he don't want to get played or used, like he don't want to
Yeah,
get
exactly.
used. So it
Nobody
could be
want to be
like
used, right? Oh, that was another one on my list. Now that you say that, a lot of them, okay, biracial men, I feel like a lot of them can be users because I feel like they are just subconsciously treating other people how they've been treated. Because by a lot of biracial men feel like they've been used for whatever reason and disregarded, and so they kind of treat their partners like that because that's how
yeah,
they've been.
that's
You know what
fair.
I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair
Yeah.
assessment.
So that happens. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I'll just use you for what you
Yeah,
want, disregard you.
hurt people. I agree with that
Hurt
100%.
people, right? So that's something that we need to be aware of and work on. You know what I mean? And the last thing I said was, don't accept or they're proud that they're biracial. A lot of biracial men are not proud that they're biracial. They're just like, it's whatever. Who cares? It's like a burden to them. It's like not something that they're like super proud of. Like most biracial men, they're like, I don't give a fuck about that biracial shit. Like, who cares about that? Like, it's like whatever. Actually, one guy I talked about it with, he's like, yeah, that's cool. That I told him about like how I did YouTube and spoke on it. He's like, yeah, I like that. It makes me happy. That's good. But it's
Yeah,
not
and
like a.
if they don't care about it, that's just like that means they're a follower because you're only going with trends. Because it's
Mhm.
not a trend to care about your identity. It's not a trend to want to get out here and do something for biracial for yourself and the community. So I feel like to try to make something out of nothing because that's what we're doing. We don't have nothing. For you to want to do that, you really have a strong sense of self. If you don't care about biracial people, like if you don't care about the like nothing, then basically what you just said.
Right, exactly. So yeah, how can you like a lot of okay, not a lot. There's most biracial people. They're not really on the like, oh, let's build a community. Like in real life, well, like you're talking about like people. Okay, they're not really on that stuff. They're just, like a lot of us practice individualism. Like I said, a lot of us take on the worst traits of
Yeah,
both
so you're
cultures.
in the matrix. You're doing what society is basically what how it's been for the last. I mean, it depends however old you are and you're biracial. If you look at it, you were born into a society where you don't have a community, you don't have nothing for biracial people, so you're just going with that program,
Yep.
basically.
Okay, let me address this comment real quick. By the way, I look at the Vesters very much very different than regular white men and black men having the Vesters are basically black women that gave up on black men and they want to date out because they feel like black men don't value them or what is that saying? The division siblings. It go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. It's kind of thing like that. They're kind of like done with black men because of how they've been treated. That's kind of like how that is, whatever. Okay, so I want to speak on my experiences, right?
Hold on,
So
hold on. Some of these cons, I feel like they're not that bad. Like I feel like it's
we can work on. We can work on
you
it.
got to
It's
cause some
workable.
drama. Like, what do you really hate about us? Like,
I
what
don't
do
hate
you?
nothing. I don't hate nothing. I love
Or,
biracial
or
men.
let
I
me
don't
say,
hate them.
what would make you not want to ever just be with somebody that's biracial?
No, I do want to be with somebody biracial. That's the thing. That's why I'm talking about this because it's like, okay, there's some things that need to be talked
All
about.
right.
Everybody's like, oh, if you have a biracial community, you got to date biracial and have biracial families. But it's like, okay, there's issues with that we need to address. That when it comes that nobody talks about when it comes to if you're a biracial person that dates other biracial people, and it's like there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of dynamics that okay, I'll tell you one. I'll give you my experience, right? So with my ex-husband, okay, I felt like we had like a culture clash, right? Because in my mind, okay, we met and he was like the only biracial around. Like we were in like all black environment. I feel like he was we just kind of clinged to each other or whatever. It was like, oh, he's cute. And we liked each other. We kind of just we're like magnets. But getting to know each other, it was like a culture clash almost because we were raised in totally like I thought my thinking was like, oh, he's like me, he's mixed, he's biracial. We're gonna be able to relate to each other, we're gonna be able to understand each other. Da, da, da. That's what I thought. But it was like, no, because we were totally different culturally because I grew up in Pacific Northwest, whatever. He grew up in like he grew up in like kind of like he was more like grew up in like a really rough area and things like that. So it was like we were totally different culturally. Like there's so many things that was like we were completely not on the same page whatsoever. So it's like just like in dating, just like we talk about, you ain't gonna get along with everybody just because you biracial. It's like that you have to apply that to dating. Like you're not culturally the same with a lot of people. Like people have different upbringings and different backgrounds and you're not gonna be able to relate to them. It's like, dang, I didn't go through that. I didn't go through foster care. I don't know what that's like. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's just a lot of things that are like culturally different between us that it caused issues in our relationship for sure. It was like we had way different, because like I said, I wanted a traditional racial relationship, right? But we were in Atlanta, the land of baby mama, baby daddy. So it was like people were trying to make him feel stupid or make him feel like he's dumb for having like a stay-at-home mom, right? It was like, oh, you just got a bitch sitting in your house doing nothing when I was raising 3 kids, right? But it was like that got to him. Like he was like, no, I want you to go. Like he started resenting me a little bit because it was like, oh, everybody else like they get somebody who pay 50-50 and do all these things, right? But it's like I gotta do everything, I gotta take care of everything. Like he started kind of resenting me because that was not the culture. That's not the culture. Like a lot like black culture, a lot of it is not traditional whatsoever. Most of it is not. You know what I mean? So it's like I kind of wanted that, but I grew up the opposite. You know what's funny? My mom was the one that worked all the time, and then my dad stayed at home. So I wanted to be like you always want to be the opposite of your parents. So I wanted to have like the opposite role. It was just a lot, like just like trying to have like a relationship that was healthy. It was just like, and then you know what messed me up too? It was like I like okay, I was going through like postpartum and stuff like that, and it was like I really needed like emotional support because I was going through depression and postpartum, and he didn't know how to provide that whatsoever because he's like I never got that before ever growing up. Nobody cared about my emotions, nobody cared about how I felt. It was just like whatever, who cares? So it was like if he never was shown that, he never knew how to give that to me. You know what I mean? Like that's how a lot of Irish people are
So
treated. Like
basically, you're getting the worst of biracial men, not the
yeah,
best of us.
yeah. So it's
But
like
I want to, since you had your little pros and cons for the men, I just for the men, I
oh,
want to
do the
speak for
women.
biracial
Yeah, do
men.
the women if you got one.
All right, so probably a lot of biracial men gonna relate with this, so I just want to speak for y'all real quick. Um, our experience dating, I guess, like I mean, all groups of women. So like black women, white women, Latin women, biracial women. I'm gonna just start with biracial women. Um, I feel like the way society is set up, biracial women, you got your Zendayas, Doja Cats, Meghan Markles. they're with white men. You know, that's their thing. Like I feel like Say still like they have a
Zendaya,
type.
Zendaya.
Yeah, she like white men. Like she likes white men. So it's like for biracial men, when you're dating other biracial people is like it's like for us is I don't know how to I don't know the right word, but it's like I just said, you got these women that like white men. And then that's the same thing with white women. White women that like white men, they want the the blue eyes, blonde hair. They want the white. They don't want that half black. They don't want that. They want full white. Like when a woman wants a white boy, she wants full white. She don't want the light skin. She don't want the middle. And same thing with like biracial women that date black men. You know the I don't date light skins. I don't like light skins. I got a sister that's like that. She don't like light skins, and I'm just like looking at. I don't say nothing. I just be looking like, but you're light skin. Like, what are you telling me? You don't like yourself, and she don't like herself because she be like, I'm going to the beach. I'm a tan. Tan. You're already tan. What are you talking about? You're gonna tan. Like she's darker than me. She darker than you. Talking about she gonna tan. I'm just like, she just really hates herself and sad. I don't really say nothing to her. Like, I mean, I have said stuff, but you know how like she a teenager, so like things. I just let it be. You know, she gonna learn on her own, figure it out. So, but it's just like a lot of biracial, especially the ones that grew up in the hood, they do not like light skinned men. So that
Mm-mm.
right there lets us know what that there's a social program, and if so many women are saying this, that's a social program. That's like somebody's teaching them this. Is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Like there's like
Like
a social
brainwash, kind of like
conditioning.
it's
It's
just
a social conditioning, right?
right. It's like because like a lot of women will say that. So it's like for us, if it's either you get a full white man or you get a full black man, you don't hear nobody. I like biracial men only. I mean, I hear you say it,
You
but
don't you
that's
don't
not
hear
like
that. It's not a
that's
social
not the
norm.
trope, right? That's not the norm.
That's very uncommon,
So
right?
that's our perspective. So how we come into the world, how dating for us is like we're basically like we're classified with the Latinos. Like when a woman sees us, she don't go, "Oh my God, that's a mixed biracial man." No, it's more like, "Are you Latino?" Because she like
Are you
somebody
Puerto
like Latino
Rican?
men. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like, are you Puerto Rican? So it's like we're looked at as immigrants. Really, we're not looked at like white women, black. People like they think we're Puerto Rican. They think we're on that. We're not classified with the white or black people when it comes to dating. So our experience is the same experience as like Puerto Ricans and Latin people.
I feel like I don't know. Okay. I've heard a lot of women be like, "Oh, he's a fine mixed guy." I've heard that. I hear that a lot. I feel like a lot of women do like mixed men, and they identify him as like, "Oh, he's mixed." They kind of identify him as just mixed. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's never
Yeah, I
like,
feel like what are they though? Because I feel like black women have a perspective about biracial men, white women have a different perspective, Latin women have a different, like all groups of women have a different perspective about it. And you already know black women what their perspective is like. Oh, like because
but
they already feel that
they're
light
people
skinned people
like
are privileged.
biracial mixed men because of their looks, right? It's always because like, oh, he's fine. It's always because like how he
No, I
looks.
feel like they
You know
fall
what I
into
mean?
the he's feminine. I feel like they fall into that. Like they see black as masculine. I feel like they see like I feel like they fall into that I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I don't know the word for it, but not all of them. I'm not saying all, but I feel like that. I feel like that's like that came from the black community, the feminine thing. That didn't come from the white side.
No, because they're lighter than us. Yeah, that don't
Right.
make
So that
sense.
didn't that didn't come from the white side. So like and then the
It's
white, I feel like they focus on purity. So that's already
mm-hmm.
they're white women, I feel like they date on social status. They pick their men based off of the social status.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be like in their own community, the black community.
Just like Kim Kardashian, the Kardashians, right? It's like they always got with black men because they felt like it raised their social status. Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, like amongst like if a white woman, if she dates in her own community, she's gonna get like the rich white dude. If she dates in the black community, she's gonna get like the popular athlete or whatever. And biracial, I don't know, biracial women, y'all confusing. Ain't gonna lie. At least I
Yeah.
know where white women and black like as I know where they stand when it comes to dating. Biracial women, I just feel like they date black to feel black. They don't date because I feel like when they date a biracial man, they feel like they're less black.
Mm, that's deep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Because it's like I said, maybe a lot of those apply to like they're not proud of being bi. They don't accept that applies to like women, the
yeah.
biracial women too. So it's like they
Okay,
don't want to
yeah.
date
That
somebody
applies to
to
both of
remind them of
us.
themselves, right? Because it's like you hear that trope. It's like, oh, they look like brother and sister. Like, you know what I mean? Have you heard that when like two light skinned people date two biracial?
Yep,
It's like they look like brother and sister. So it's like that's kind of like a turn off to
I get
like.
that. I get that right now.
I got that too a lot,
And I'm just like, I don't tell white people that when I see
and I don't
when a
see
white
it.
boy and a white girl dating or a black girl and a black dude dating, I don't be like, y'all look like brothers and sisters.
Nobody
I
do
don't do
that.
that.
Yeah,
Nobody does that shit to him, but they do that shit to us.
they do this shit to us, right? Yeah, and that sucks, right?
Y'all better wake up. Y'all better see what's going on.
Y'all better see what's going on. You know what I mean? But okay, let's talk about the last like 20 minutes. Let's talk about like solutions. Like, what do you think we should do better? Like, how should we improve? Like, what do you think?
Man, um that's hard because I ain't gonna lie.
You talk about how biracial men can improve, and I'll talk about how biracial women can improve, so we could like be better for each other.
All right. Well, what I see with biracial men is that first of all, they don't value if you're trying to like when you say dating, are you talking about like anybody or just like biracial people dating?
We're talking about like us dating each other.
All right, so to improve on that, first of all, they gotta value the dynamic of two biracial people being together. They gotta value creating a family where your wife biracial, your kids biracial. You gotta value those things. Like you wanna basically have like a culture of yours, creating your own culture yourself, like cultivating that. You gotta want that. That's gotta be like your goal in life to like, you know how some people's goal is like, I want to get married, I want to have kids. Your goal has to be, I want to get married to a biracial person. I want to have second generation kids that are biracial. I want to create a biracial lineage. If you don't value that, if that's not your objective in life, then you're not gonna appreciate being with a biracial person as a biracial person. So to improve on that, that's got to be a value of yours. And it's not even just before you even get into all that. I feel like a lot of biracial dudes don't have no game. Like they don't know how to talk to biracial women. They don't. They want this perfect. I feel like some biracial men they have like this white logic. You know, like how white people think like she has to be a virgin. Like these unrealistic
Oh yeah,
goals
yeah,
for
yeah. That's
like
true.
Christian goals for women. And it's just like they're not realistic. Like you want this perfect virgin girl, this perfect like this dream Disney character, woman,
Not
princess.
real. Like, they have like unrealistic
Yeah,
expectations.
like that's most biracial women think like that. So when they see her do something else, they're like, "Oh, she trashy, she a hoe." Da, da, da. And it's just like, bro, she's just being human. That's her nature. You got to understand women,
Yeah, I
a
like that.
woman's
Yeah, just
nature.
accept people as human beings. Like, we're just human beings, right? You can't
Right.
like be delusional and just have these unrealistic expectations. You got to live in reality. I
And then a
agree.
lot of time, like if they've been conservative like that, like they might not have got a lot of women just because of the fact that they're biracial light skin, because that's a thing. Like I see that like there's a lot of men that like a lot of biracial dudes who just been like women have neglected them just because they're biracial. Like basically, that happens a lot. So it's like they haven't got a lot of women, so they feel like their partner should not have a lot of people. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's like I don't have a lot of partners, so you and the way men measure like body counts, basically. Like if a man has 10 body counts, he probably thinks a woman should have one or two. If a man has 50 body
Right.
counts, he probably will be okay with a woman having five. You know what I'm saying? So if you got a guy that's only had three, four women, he wants you to be a virgin. Like it's these unrealistic things. Like it's a perspective that biracial men have, and it's like a lot of insecurity issues, a lot of low self esteem in biracial men. And I mean, I can go on and on, so I'm gonna just let you take it because I don't got much time. But we do got to do this topic again. If more biracial men want to hear about it, just comment, and I'll get into the whole because I feel like I could create a whole channel being a dating coach because I feel like there's so much to talk about with biracial men. So I
Absolutely.
mean, if they
Right.
want that, let me know. Let me just comment on her channel, and if you want more, just you gotta put it out there, and I'll make videos. Like I feel like I can't help us. Like I feel like I understand the psychology. I understand society. There's a lot of things that you know I have the enlightenment of. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Real shit. I like that. So I think us is biracial. I think a lot of men, are lustful after us. They want to use this for our bodies, and we gotta just know that we're sacred, and that you just don't let anybody inside your body unless they value you and they're treating you right, and they actually want to invest in you, and they actually want a future in you. They're gonna respect you. They're just That's the main thing. Like making sure you're keeping your body sacred, and that you're not just giving it up to everybody, and that you are just like I said, when it comes to valuing yourself, right? It comes like we have to value ourselves too as human beings, and we have to love ourselves as well, and making sure that we're choosing and picking partners who will love and value us as well at the end of the day. Okay, like that's so important for us, and I want to see us, because I see it, like we get in a lot of abusive relationships. Biracial women, they get unalived. I mean, unalived. Yeah, they get killed. I'm not on TikTok. They get killed by their partners. Like I see a lot of stories where, remember that there's so many stories you get into of them being killed and abused by their partners and things like that. And it's like, no, we have to. If you see any red flag that this man does not value, he does not respect you, he's just there for a good time, not a long time, you gotta run. No, cut him off, block him. Okay, okay. You know what I mean. And just know that there's a man out there for you that's gonna love and value and cherish you and respect you. And don't settle until you find that man that's gonna do that. So that's all I want. I want us to have healthy, loving relationships. You know what I mean? Like that's what we need to see more of. And you gotta love and cherish and value ourselves first, and make sure you heal all like the childhood trauma, do all the work, go to therapy, do everything you can to make sure you look at yourself, have a good self-image. Like, oh, that's a good, having a positive self-image is so important for biracial men and women, because our like image, like if you look out in the world, it's like there's such a negative connotation with being biracial. It's like, oh, you're corny, you're lame, you're feminine, you're hoe, you're just a thought, you're just this, you're just that. You know what I mean? Like if you let the world tell you who you are, like this is who I am, you absorb that, and you have this self-image that you just, the world wants to devalue us and make us feel like we're worthless, we're nothing. We just, because people don't want us to exist. You know what I mean? Like people don't want people, interracial people, coming together and creating us. They don't want us that. So they're gonna make the children of those offsprings feel like we're worthless because people don't want us to exist, right? But no, we gotta reclaim it and be like, no, I'm valuable, I'm loved, I'm powerful, I'm a king. You have to really take control of your self image, so that there's a positive connotation. Like, yes, I'm biracial, this is who I am, and you have a positive connotation with that. You don't have this negative, like, oh, it's something that you have to be ashamed of having a white mom or a white dad, or I just feel ashamed, and just, no, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, yeah, this is who I am. I don't care if you think it's corny. I don't care what you think. Like, I know what I think about myself is more important than what you think about me, period. Okay, how you feel about yourself. So yeah, anyways, I think that if you want to have a healthy, fun, happy relationship, just have fun with dating's supposed to be fun. And like everybody in 2024 is like, oh, it's so terrible. No, just have fun with it. Have fun getting to know people. And if you find out, oh, this is not the person for you, okay, you have a great life. I hope you find the one. Like it's simple as that. Like it doesn't have to be like, just don't, like you said, don't have unrealistic expectations. Like, and don't project your good qualities onto somebody else. Like really get to know somebody for who they are, and it's like, hey, it's not working out for me. That's okay. And make sure you're not jumping in bed. Make sure you make like logical decisions. Don't get emotionally attached to people too fast, because we're lonely. Because a lot of Bibers are lonely, but don't get attached too fast to people. Make sure you're making clear decisions, and yeah, you know what I mean. Anybody got anything to say about that? I think that we just gotta
I
navigate
mean,
things a little differently, and make
I want to.
sure that we're making clear decisions, and based on love, based on self respect, and based on just something bigger than ourselves. Like, yeah, we want to have a community. There's a lot of MGM people. I want to learn more about MGM people because I got MGM kids, right? And so that's important. Their experience is important. Those are our children, like we said. And yep, it's fun, man. Have fun with it. Like it's nothing like, just have fun. It's supposed to be fun.
All right,
It's
so let's do a hypothetical. All right, so
mhm.
like I'll go first. Like what? How dating for as a biracial man for me? Not all biracial men think like me, so I'm gonna say that not all biracial men are in my financial situation. So I'm gonna just say for me, if I was to date a biracial one, right, like tomorrow, first of all, how
Mhm.
I approach dates is it's a date. I feel like it's just to go ask questions and just find out if I want to have a second date with that person. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so if I want to do something else, this is just like it ain't nothing serious. It's just same way if I was to go out with a coworker for a date. There's no I look at a first date like there's no attachment. It's just like if I was to go out with a homie, like we finna go get something to eat. So
Yeah.
I look at it like that, and I don't believe in the whole men should pay for the first date because I feel like you don't even know this person. What am I doing
Boy,
paying?
I never pay for no first date.
So I'm just saying like I just feel like
Personally,
it should
that's what.
be you pay for your own shit and I pay
Okay,
for
but
my shit.
okay, if you ask a woman out, like someone that you're interested in, you ask her on a date, like I think you should pay for the date. Personally,
But that's the thing, like a woman's not gonna ask. So it's set up. It's
the
set up.
men, yeah, it's set up for the
It's I
men to
don't. That's
ask.
what I'm saying. It's not. That's another unrealistic thing. It's not. Y'all want us to approach you first, so it's like you're automatically paying. I could see if women was approaching us too, and like, hey, I'm gonna take you on a date. Like if it was fair, if that was happening. But I just feel like, it just don't make sense to pay for a whole stranger's date that you might not even like at the end of the date.
You
Like,
don't
why are
think
you
did you pay
wasting
for your girlfriend's date?
the first date? Man, with the
Yes.
first, actually, we didn't. Well, we didn't go out on a date. We had kicked it somewhere and I bought like snacks. It wasn't nothing serious. Like I just got like snacks. And but after that, she took on the second date, she took me out. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna take her on an even better date. Like she showed me that like the first time I met her, it had nothing to do with money. So I'm like, okay, she it has nothing to do with money. So when we went on a date, she took me out. She paid for the date. And then on the next day after that, I took her on even a more expensive date just to, just
Oh,
like
that's
because I
good.
wanted
So
to do
it's
that.
like
Like
you
how
guys
you,
are spoiling each other. I like that. I do like that. It's like I want to spoil my man. He spoils me. If it's equal, like I like that. You know what
and,
I
and
mean?
and me knowing that most women don't do that, it made me value her. I'm like, women don't really want to pay for a dude's date, so it made me even want to go harder for her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when
Yeah,
you show yourself in the world that you're different, you're rare. I
I've
feel like
done
people
that.
value that.
I've
People
done
value.
that with a guy. I've paid for a date. It was like the movies or something. I paid for it, and I'm not dating that guy no more. Basically,
See what I'm saying? Like it's like you buy your own ticket, I buy my own ticket. That's why
no, I don't.
I.
I'm not mad. It was
Mm,
just a movie date. Like it's no money, but it's
right.
like I just I just lost interest in him because not because
But
of that,
but you know what I'm
for a
saying? If you
different
can't
reason.
build a relationship on equality from the beginning, why are you even
But no, for me, it was like I was the one always paying for the dates, always doing everything. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was like
so then
keeping
you
a
know
real.
how some guys feel. That's how some guys feel. They're always the
But
one.
I felt like I was like in the masculine role. I felt like I'm not. I just felt like I didn't want to be the man. Some men, I want a man that wants to
But
be that
look,
man.
getting
You know what I
money is
mean?
not a masculine trait. So we can't look at it.
But
The economy is not like that no more. Getting money is not a masculine trait. There's women out here getting money. Is she masculine? Is Hillary Clinton masculine? Is
nah,
the
to
Queen of
me,
England
no. Me
masculine? She's
personally,
on.
I definitely want a man that's like happily wanting to provide for a woman that can do it and happily wants to. It's not like something I would want to force. If you don't want to do it, I would
Right.
never force it on a man that doesn't want it. I'd be like, okay, that's not for me. But I would want to be with a man who wants to do that for a woman because I don't know. I like that. I like that. That's what I like.
But I feel like that's nature. A man's gonna want to do that. But if
Yeah,
that's
when
the
if a man
expectation from the
wants to do
beginning,
that, like he's showing me that he values me, and of
okay,
course I'm
okay.
gonna
So then let me
spoil
let
him
me, let
back
me
and
ask you
spend money on
this:
him too.
what's the difference between a trick and a dude that wants to do it? How do you do the difference? Because there's dudes out here that are buying prostitutes, going to a strip club and spending money. How do you know that him spending money is him valuing you?
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
How do
but
you?
if like okay, it's not just money, right? Like money's one factor. There's time, there's effort of like communication. So it's not just like a guy's just not gonna like spend money and just that. But it's like if we're like actually putting effort and time getting to know each other and he's willing to invest
That's
money,
what I'm
time.
saying. You can't
Yeah.
base it off of money in the beginning because I could be a millionaire. I'm like, hey, let's go on a date. I take her with something that is pennies to me, but it's everything to her. And she thinking, oh, he really like me. He just spent all his money. I smash and never see her again. It's because the money's nothing to me, just like she was nothing. So it's like you can't
But
measure.
it's
Oh,
like that's why you withhold sex. Like, you know what I mean? That's why it's like you don't just jump into bed with somebody. Like you gotta wait. Like you gotta see if this man is actually willing
so
to like
that's
you gotta
unrealistic. Who gonna keep
wait.
spending money on you and money on you and money for months and
Okay,
months?
but okay, but have you ever okay, but being with a guy who's like you're
Just don't base it on money. Just 50-50. Just do that. That's my advice. You don't got to do that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
people like Shira Seven give advice say money is the only thing that matters, and some men have money expect anything less. Precisely right. Making money is not a masculine trait. I believe y'all have incels in this chat who ain't worthy of a date. Getting money is a masculine trait, and all people have masculine and feminine traits. That's a good point. You can't get to know a person in a
Wait,
theater,
wait, wait, wait.
period.
If everybody has masculine and feminine traits, then then there's no such thing as a woman being feminine if everybody has it. So that's
Everybody
like
has
literally the
masculine and
same
feminine
thing.
energy. Some people are like more masculine dominant, some people are more feminine dominant. Yeah, definitely. Okay, first date,
But
I
that's back to the
pay. I
same
might go
thing.
half,
But
I educate a person, but I never put it on the other. Let's see. Feminine can't exist without masculinity. Like a woman goes to work, so that is on the weekend, so she could rest and take it, aka
you
rest
know
in her
that
femininity.
femininity and masculinity are social constructs. They're made up. They're not real. People
I
attach
think
these things to that.
no, I don't believe that because okay, men masculinity is just what's
If everybody
associated
has
with
both,
men.
if
So
everybody has
what's
both,
associated with men? What are the traits associated more with men? Right?
who's creating
They're
these?
more physically stronger. Like that's a biological fact that men are more
So
physically
women that are
stronger.
bodybuilders,
Women, women, we bear children. We have wombs, uterus. So that's a biological fact.
that's
And
not
then that
femininity. That's just your
there's
biological makeup.
that's the biological makeup. But why? Because okay,
How does that
women
make
are
you feminine
considered
because you
to
can have
be
a kid?
we care for like
A whole
infants
strong
in the
dyke girl can
beginning.
have a kid.
But listen, we care
So
for infants,
masculine.
so we have to be more caring, more nurturing, more in tune because we care for infants in their infancy. We
So
breastfeed, we do all these
masculinity
things.
means
So
you don't care.
that's more
See
of a
what I'm
feminine
saying?
trait.
These are things are not real.
I think it's real.
Yeah, that's why everybody's confused because people think this shit real.
What masculine femininity? It's the energy. It's definitely like you could tell, like you could feel the energy when like a man's like in his masculine energy. You could feel energy. You could feel the energy. Like you could definitely feel it. You know what I mean? It's very attractive. It's very sexy. It's very like, oh, hey Zeddy. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's like an energetic thing. Like that is a big component of dating. Like somebody's energetics, like your energy. You know how like, oh, I vibe with
So
this
having
person.
money
You guys
is the
having
same
like
thing as being masculine. That's what I'm trying to get
having
to.
money. No, okay, that's always been associated with being a provider.
So
That's always been associated as a
what if a
masculine
woman is
trait.
super feminine? Like let's say Meghan Markle and she got all this money. She's now
Men
masculine.
do no, a lot of men do say like we hear that a lot. A lot. I disagree with it. Right? I think that you could have money and like still be feminine. I think you can be, but so many men are like we don't want successful women because they're masculine. They have to be masculine in this society in order to be successful. That's what
That's
a
not
lot
even
of men
true.
say. I don't agree with that, but a lot of dudes say that. It's called estrogen. Estrogen and testosterone. Yup. Men have more testosterone. Testosterone is a sex drive. So men have more of like a sex drive than women. Because that's why men be
I'm
out here
talking about
trying to
the
fuck.
things that people are attaching. I'm not saying masculinity like
But no,
you
I
know
agree with you to a certain extent. I do. The gender, you're talking about like the gender roles. That's all made up. The gender roles. Because, you know,
yeah like
no,
things that
I
are
agree with
attached
you.
to it like
Masculine and
saying oh you got
femininity.
money.
But you're talking about the gender roles. Yeah, that's all made up. I agree with you. Like the gender roles. Okay. Because when it comes to gender roles, right? Gender roles are definitely made up. Just like how women, it's like, oh, women are supposed to be in the kitchen. You know, in some cultures, like different cultures have different gender roles. Like, so some of it, like in some cultures, it's men
Oh,
that are doing all the
so
cooking. So a
let me
lot of these
be
gender roles like are made up. Like women being in the kitchen. Like
yeah
a
I'm
lot
not
of
saying all of them.
men.
I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying some like some things that are attached to
Some
it.
of them are social constructs. I agree with you. I do agree with you.
That's what I was trying to
So
say.
we
I'm
got to
not
figure
saying
out, okay, us is like biracial people. We got to figure out what gender roles work for. Because I agree to a certain extent. Because we live in a fucked up economy. Nobody's really making no money. Like I said, okay, biracial men, they don't really make a lot of money, so we gotta work with what we got. Like, you know, there's not a lot of biracial men that are like millionaires, billionaires. Well, everybody, not everybody Drake. So it's like, yeah, you can't have an unrealistic expectation of this man that's just making all this money. Like, you gotta like what I
if
want.
biracial men want to
No,
start making money, we got to come together as men. We got to
my
come
preference
together.
would just be like a nice like blue collar man. Like that would be my ideal. I just want a nice blue collar man, a man that got like a skill or a trade, and I'd be freaking happy with that. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
something
minimum.
I
That's
would.
bare minimum. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't even be dating. I guess if you can't have
What the blue
one at least
collar
one.
men?
Yeah,
Like I
you
like
gotta have at
that.
least one skill. Like go plumbing, go fix some
Yeah,
shit,
like I think
something.
that biracial men should like. I want to get a skill too. Don't worry. Like I want to get a career skill. I'm going back to school, like doing elevating myself. Of course, I'm not gonna just. I don't believe in depending on a man. You know what I mean? I want to have my own shit too. You know what I mean? But I do want. I do like would prefer like a nice blue collar man. You know,
My goal, I want to create businesses that, obviously,
gender is there you go. Ramon said it. Gender is a social construct. Sex is not. There you go. Exactly. Gender roles like. Yeah, because things are flip flopping, changing. Like everything changes so fast. You know what I
and it's
mean?
not us changing it. It's these government, these higher powers. They're changing the
Gender
roles
roles
through.
exist in the animal kingdom. Having money doesn't turn you into a masculine dominant individual. Right. Okay. Gender roles exist. I think what we're talking about gender roles. Okay, it revolves around like parenting. Right. It's
We ain't
usually like
animals though. We're humans.
it's usually like okay when it comes to gender roles it comes like okay it's like the mom that stays with the kids while the man is off doing something. I don't know. I think that's what the gender roles kind of
I
revolve
feel
around. It's
like
like
what
the
I'm
roles
talking
of like
about. I think
parenting. You
people
know.
misunderstand what I'm talking about. Like when I say some things are made up to it. Like exist. For example, animals having gender roles. I'm not talking about like. I'm talking about like there's things that animals haven't made up. You know what I'm saying? Like there's things that we've made up. Like animals haven't made up an economy. They haven't made up a social construct. They haven't made up systems. They haven't had. I mean, they have, but they're animalistic. Ours is more advanced. So we're able when you're more of an advanced species, you're able to make up things that really wouldn't even exist in the nature world. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It's
Like
all man made. Right. It's all just made
yeah, like
up.
if we was like
All these
cavemen
systems.
out hunting and like back in millions of years ago, yeah, there's gonna be certain generals. Those are that are natural to men and women. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in a civilized world where if you go punch somebody, you're going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like masculine, like where I could just go dominate somebody's area and it's mine now. No, I'll go to jail if I show up in
They do
McDonald's and
that
beat up
on
the
like a
manager and be
larger
like, I'm the
scale, like
manager
with the
now.
armies.
It don't work like that.
It it,
I'm
it
talking about in
does with
our
like
world,
armies. If you have like a whole
a
large ass army to go
civilian.
take over, but as like a person
I'm
living
talking
in
about
this
as a
society, no,
civilian.
no, you can't do that, right? It still happens, but like not on like this level because we don't have the power. We don't freaking run the police and we don't run like the armies and stuff like that. So,
Now we getting
but
out of
yeah, okay,
context. We getting out of context.
okay,
But
but we're
yeah,
supposed to be more evolved. If traditional gender roles yield the best outcome, this is something that I indicate. The men who are most likely to provide our million, it's the blue collar workers, right? That's what I want. I want to be a blue collar
hey,
man.
look,
But
I gotta go real quick. I don't know
okay,
if you want to do a part two or if you're gonna still be on. I'll be back in like 30 minutes.
we could talk about. Okay, what do you want to do to part two? Anybody got any suggestions in the comments? What I think there's more we could like when it comes to like gender, like what roles? How can we have like a healthy dynamic? Should we continue like there's traditional gender roles and I don't know like as biracial people like there's a lot of there's a lot what y'all think? Anybody in the comments before I end this? Let me put some music on. Do anybody in the comments got any suggestions of what we could talk about? You know what I want to talk about? Okay, how can we create healthy relationships and healthy dynamics? That's going to be the part two. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let me get some like little outro music real quick. It's been a good discussion. Shout out to Northern Lights. A lot of people say this are the best time making money while other things are getting expensive. All right. Shout out to you guys. It's been a great discussion. We're gonna do part two. Thank you for coming out. I got more to talk about. I really do. He shouldn't have left. But we're gonna do part two later. Not enough of y'all commenting for me. Y'all need to make some more. Next time I do this live, make sure y'all in the comments. I need more comments next time. Okay. All right. Bye, y'all. Y'all have a good day.